Hi friends, happy Sunday. I'm Sarah Baldwin. I'm a Waldorf teacher, author, and the owner of Bella Luna Toys. And on today's Sunday with Sarah, I am going to share with you the most important thing I learned during years of teaching, the secret to successful discipline with young children. But before I get into that, I want to ask you a favor. If you are enjoying this video series, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube video channel by clicking the link below and clicking on the little bell icon to be notified whenever I post a new video. And if at the end of this video you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. So now, the most important thing I learned as a teacher, and the thing that I wish I had really understood when my own children were younger, was the importance of being able to say no, and here's the key, having consistent boundaries. Now, as first-time parents, and for myself as a new teacher, we want our children to like us. We hate to see them cry. We give in to their whining and demanding. But the most important thing for a child is for you to be the adult and not their friend. They need to know that you are an adult they can count on to keep them safe. Now, we don't want to say no very often. So I try to keep things positive and would encourage you to do the same. Try to turn it around. Instead of saying what they can't do, tell them what they can do. As Waldorf teachers, we use the phrase, "you may," a lot. So for example, instead of saying, "no running inside," you could say instead, "you may use your walking feet when we're indoors." Or if a child is hitting another child, instead of saying, "no hitting," you can say, "you may use your gentle hands with your friends." So I would encourage you to use the word no only when you really have to and when you really mean it. Elizabeth Cornelius, who was the very first Waldorf teacher in the very first Waldorf school in Stuttgart, Germany, said that there are 3 primary reasons to say no to a child. One is when they could do something harmful to themselves. For instance, if they're about to run out into traffic in front of a moving car, or if they're running outside in cold weather without a coat. The second reason would be when what they want to do would harm others. For instance, hitting another child or making noise that would wake up a sleeping baby. And the third reason to say no is when a child wants to do something that would damage property. For instance, coloring on the walls with crayons or throwing and breaking things. Now, these are times when a firm no is appropriate. But before you say no, make sure that you really mean no and that you don't change your mind. This is the key. No matter how much whining and crying and pleading and begging a child does. I want to give an example. When I really learned this lesson as a kindergarten teacher, I had a new child who joined my class mid-year. When I think back about her, she's one of, I have the fondest memories of any of my students. The day she came, she was a very willful child. And it was time to go outside, and we're in Maine where it's very cold in the winter, and she wanted to go outside without socks and shoes on. And I told her that no, we all had to put our socks on, and she had a crying fit. And my assistant took all the other children outside. I stayed in most of the recess time with that child, held her on my lap. I tried to maintain my calm and my cool and insisted that if she wanted to go outside, she needed to put her socks on. And she thrashed and cried, and at the end of the day, when her mother came to get her and asked how her very first day at our school was, this child told her mother it was terrible and Miss Sarah was so mean. And her mother asked me what happened. I had to describe what happened and was afraid she might withdraw her child from my class. However, this child came back and became one of my most loving students. She never again argued with me about putting her socks and shoes on. And even when she became much older and was in middle school, would still come up and hug me. That was when it really hit home for me, the importance of being consistent and letting a child know when no means no. So when you've said no and then you later change your mind and give in, it makes a child feel very insecure and confused and teaches them that they can whine and plead with you until you give in, which is a habit you do not want them to get into. But by being consistent and teaching your child that no means no, it will make them feel secure and loved and know that you are doing the most loving discipline possible. So I hope this helps. I'm sure there will be lots of questions. Please leave them below and I'll do my best to answer them. So thanks for tuning in and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.